Fire. It seems so easy to get fire today. You simply get a lighter, click on the striker and you get fire. I mean, how it works is simply that, there's this roller and there's a flint beneath the roller, and when you strike it, the friction causes these sparks to fly, and when the fuel catches, you get fire. Now, we don't give it much thought today, but in the early days, it was not so simple. I mean, have you tried starting fire without a lighter or any modern implements? I'm sure you heard about the drilling technique, which we actually spoke about in a previous episode quite some time ago. But it wasn't really portable, and it was a tedious process. So, who in Chinese mythology improved upon this technique, and how did he make fire more portable and more convenient for the people? Now stick around to find out more. Hello and welcome to the Chain Smoking Writers channel, where we share the myths, legends and histories of the Chinese people from the first creator to the last imperial dynasty. More than 6,000 years of stories, one video at a time. And if you think you like content and stories like this, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever a new video drops. During Huangdi's reign, a boy was born to one of the tribal chiefs in Huangdi's kingdom. Now this boy named Chongli was born with a deep red complexion, and he was built like a tank, he was built like a mountain. And on top of that, he had a temper that could rival volcanoes. Now this boy, since the day he was born, he seemed to have an unhealthy obsession with fire. And this obsession with fire, coupled with his fiery temper and his big size, caused no shortage of trouble within the tribe he grew up in. While Sui Ren, the fire starter, which we spoke about in a previous episode, gave people the ability to use fire, his technique of wood drilling was a laborious and tedious process, and the people had very limited knowledge about keeping tinder alive, and thus it greatly limited the potential of using fire efficiently, and it was not really portable. On the Huaxia people's migration to the northeast, Huangdi appointed Chongli as the keeper of the tinder. His one job was to make sure that the source of fire, the people's source of fire, did not go out during their long trek. Unfortunately, during this long journey to the northeast, they were met with heavy rains and storm, and the tinder died in Zhongli's care. So when night came and the people needed to start fires for cooking, keeping warm, and basically illuminating their environment, Zhongli had no choice but to go out into the forest, the forested areas, to gather wood to start a fire through the drilling process. Now, however, all the wood he was able to scavenge from the surrounding areas were actually damp and wet from all the rains and storms that has been pouring down, all this time. So for 6 hours, with dogged determination, Chongli drilled and drilled and drilled in the shade of a rocky mountain. However, he couldn't get even a spark to come out from his efforts. Now, undeterred and being a stubborn man, Chongli did not give up. He, just kept his head down and continued drilling for another 6 hours. Now, apparently, smoke did start to come out from his efforts. However, the tinder just would not catch because they were too damp and wet. Now, tired, hungry, and frustrated, the famous temper of Chongli finally flared up. In a fit of anger, he hurled the sharp piece of rock he was using for his wood drilling into the side of this rocky mountain. Now, this sharp piece of rock, which was already preheated by the hours of drilling by Chongli, struck the side of the rock mountain, and sparks flew in the dark just before dawn. Upon seeing those sparks, Chongli forgot all about his fatigue and his frustrations, and he had an idea. So he went around the entire area picking up all kinds of different rocks and stones that he could find. And he started striking them with the flint drill that he was using to drill into the wood. Now, he could get sparks to fly, on the surfaces of many different kinds of rocks. However, he could not get the fire started because all the kindling that he had with him were wet and damp. At this time, he remembered that he actually brought some dried reed flowers with him. And so he got them out and he formed a small mold with these desiccated reed flowers. He started striking the rocks on top of them. Once the spark fell and landed in the dried flowers, in these kindlings, he slowly blew on this mold. And before long, fire started. Now, this discovery greatly improved the lives of the people because it was a faster and more efficient way of making fire. And it solved the problem of having to keep a live tinder wherever people moved. It was, in a way, making fire starting portable. So fire became portable for the first time in history because of Chongli's discovery. When Huangdi heard about this, Huangdi threw a feast in Chongli's honor to encourage him, to reward him for his discovery. During this ceremony, during this celebration, Huangdi decided to give Chongli a new name and called him Zhu Rong, with the character Zhu meaning forever and the character Rong meaning illumination. In a way, it was representative of Huangdi's wish for eternal illumination for his people. Now, during Huangdi's battle with Si You in the Battle of Zhuolu, Zhu Rong used his knowledge of fire to turn flames into weapons against the enemy. He led his own people into battle with torches and bags of flammable objects, and he, encircled the enemy in rings of fire and caused great casualty and damage to Si You's army. So after the battle was done and Huangdi and the Huaxia people were on the victory march home, they came to this great mountain range to the south of the Yunmeng Lakes or Yunmengze. Here, Huangdi summoned Zhu Rong to him and asked him about the mountains. Zhu Rong replied Huangdi that this mountain here is known as Hengshan or the Heng Mountain. When Panpu passed away after his efforts in creating the world, his body transformed into all manners of landscape that we see around us today. Panpu's head became Taishan in the east, his feet became Huashan in the west, his belly or his torso rose up and it became the Songshan in the central regions. His right hand became the Hengshan or the Heng Mountain of the north, whereas his left hand became this Hengshan that we see here today in the south. Now, because this mountain range looks like a giant weighing scale that stretched across the great Yunmengze or Yunmeng Lakes and the 9 hills, therefore it is named Hengshan with the word Heng meaning balance. Now, it is said that this Hengshan of the south is able to weigh the mass of the world, and also it has the ability to weigh the virtue of a ruler. Now, Huangdi, having heard this answer, was greatly impressed by how knowledgeable Zhu Rong actually was, as opposed to his usual image of being this hot-headed mountain of a man. Zhu Rong was actually pretty well educated and knowledgeable and eloquent. And thus, Huangdi indicated to Zhu Rong that he would bestow greater responsibilities upon him in future. Now, as the victorious army camped around the base of Hengshan, Huangdi climbed to his highest peak, and all the tribes of the southern lands came to pay respect to their new ruler. Now, Zhu Rong, caught up in the joyous occasion, started performing some musical pieces composed by Ling Lun, and Lei Zhu also started dancing to the music and mesmerized the crowd. And soon everyone was dancing and celebrating Huangdi's victory. When the partying died down, Huangdi addressed the crowd. He said, "Since my ascension to the throne, I have unified the people and defeated our enemies. We have standardized the calendar, Changjie has invented writing, Ling Lun has made music, and Lei Zhu has perfected the art of making silk, and now we all have clothes to wear. So today, I shall formalize the status of the 5 cardinal mountains of the land. Taishan shall be the sacred mountain of the east. Huashan shall be the sacred mountain of the west. Songshan shall be the sacred mountain of the central regions, where Hengshan to the north shall be the sacred mountain of the north, and the Hengshan where we are upon today shall be the sacred mountain of the south. And in recognition for his contributions and achievements, Zhu Rong, the guardian of the flames, shall be made lord of the southern sacred mountain, and he shall administer to the government of the southern lands. So this was the great responsibility that Huangdi told Zhu Rong about in their earlier conversation. And from that day on, Zhu Rong started living on the highest peak of Hengshan and administered to the people of the south diligently and meticulously. When Zhu Rong saw that some of his subjects were still eating raw food, he taught them how to start fires and how to cook their catches and their prey. And when he saw that some of his people were living in darkness, he taught them how to start fires to, brighten up their night. And when he saw that his people were plagued by diseases started by insects and miasma, he taught them how to start fires to clear the air and drive the insects away. So naturally, the people under his rule were grateful for what he did for them and what he taught them. And so the elders of the tribes of the south came to him after the autumn harvest one year, and they told him, "O great Zhu Rong, guardian of flames, lord of Hengshan, lord of the south, we are eternally grateful to what you have done for us. And in gratitude, we shall declare you the king of our people. As you've educated and improved us through fire, we shall crown you the flame king." And Zhu Rong was later even deified by later generations to become the god of fire. In fact, until today, most Chinese will recognize Zhu Rong as the god of fire. Now, Zhu Rong lived to be more than 100 years old, and when he passed, he was buried on one of the peaks in Hengshan, which was named Difeng, or the Great King Peak. The highest peak where he was living on before he passed was named Zhu Rong Feng, or Zhu Rong Peak. And a great temple was built on Zhu Rong Feng to commemorate the great contributions that he had made to the people around him. Now that was the story of Zhu Rong and the Chinese god of fire. I hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did. If you did, please smash the like button. It will greatly help the channel out. And now we move on to bonus facts. Now, as we discovered in this story, the use of flint striking to start fires greatly improved and simplified the lives of people of that time. Now, flint as a material was well known long before it was used to start fire, as in the story. In fact, since the Stone Age, flint has been used to make tools and maybe even weapons. Although we could find evidence of flint use since the Paleolithic period, it became more common after the Neolithic. They were used as building materials, they were used to make jewelry, and most importantly, a lot of times it was used as a cutting edge. So over time, the use of flint kind of evolved until we use it to start fires. Now what happens is that when struck against steel, the flint edge produces sparks, and this happens because the hard flint edge shaves off a particle of steel that exposes the iron, and therefore it reacts with oxygen from the atmosphere and it ignites, therefore the sparks. Prior to the wide availability of steel, which would not happen for another few thousand years, rocks of pyrite would be used along with flint. Now, although it is more tedious and is not as easy as striking steel, it would still produce sparks and it could start fires as well. Now we move forward a few thousand years, we come to the era where we have firearms. Flint was used in flintlock, the flintlock mechanism. You have the flintlock muskets or rifles. It's still using the same basic principles to use flint to cause spark to light the gunpowder, which would later fire off the balls or the bullets, not the bullets, the balls within the muskets. Now, when we come to modern day, the use of flint and steel to create sparks is replaced by this material called ferrocerium. Now, ferrocerium is a material that could actually create sparks that are much hotter than using natural flint and steel, allowing the use of a wider range of tinders. In fact, it is so hot that it is still able to produce sparks even when the medium is wet. Now, ferrocerium is a material that is often included in a lot of survival kits, and in fact, this lighter that I showed you at the beginning of the video when I started a fire with it. Now, we call what is used in there a flint, but in actual fact, it is actually ferrocerium. So yeah, it's not really natural flint in this thing. I doubt you can find a lot of places or equipment that actually still use natural flint. Having said that, natural flint is actually still used in the production of ceramics. Flint pebbles are used as the media in ball mills to grind glazes and other raw materials for the ceramics industry. So yeah, there is still a use for it in today's world. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, like I said before, smash the like button. It would really help the channel out. And if you like content like this and you would like to follow us and join us on this journey through time, remember to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell icon so you will be notified whenever a new video drops. If you'd like to support my work on Patreon or just connect with me over social media, all the links are available below in the description box. So just click on them and connect with me. If you have anything you would like to say, if you have any comments, you have any feedback, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below. I personally go through them and reply to every single one of them. We have some pretty interesting banter going on in the comment section sometime. So don't be shy, leave your comments below. And I guess that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next episode.